game of the week was the Revier Derby. Schalke taking on Dortmund. Now, it wasn't quite perhaps the same classic as that famous 4-4 when Dortmund were 4-0 up and Schalke equalized in the last minute. Perhaps also not quite as seismic as that 3-3, Jürgen Klopp's first derby when he was 3-0 down and Dortmund came back to equalize. But it still felt very important. And it felt important because twice Schalke came back to rescue a draw, which looks like a much better result for them than for Dortmund. And once more, we saw real signs of improvement in the Schalke team.
Yeah, you're right. They are hard to beat now. So it was a jubilee. It was a 100th time that Schalke and Dortmund playing each other in the history of the Bundesliga. Anniversary. So it was an anniversary. Yeah. So it was an anniversary that 100th time that Schalke and Dortmund were playing each other in the Bundesliga. And you're right. Schalke now looks like a tough team to beat. No doubt about it that Borussia was a better team. They created the better chances and so on. But as you said, they were twice 1 goal up and didn't manage to win it. And that also had to do with the willpower. I would say that Schalke is showing the resilience, and the belief that they now have, and I think it's that is very important. That I mean they are undefeated in the second part of the season. There are only 2 teams undefeated in the Bundesliga. That is Schalke and Dortmund, and it's one of these magic turnarounds that are so rare in football that you could see at Schalke. And now it feels almost, I mean, like some weeks ago, nobody could imagine that they would really have a chance to stay in the Bundesliga. But now it's almost difficult to imagine how they can go down.
Yeah, I think you're right. The momentum and sentiment has really changed. You almost think now that Schalke will find a way, whereas they looked all but written off before the restart after the winter break. It still feels like a very bad week for Dortmund. They got knocked out in the Champions League by Chelsea after a pretty meek performance. And it was the derby, so we shouldn't be too hasty and too harsh on them. You can sort of perhaps not quite play to your best, and the opposition make it always difficult for you, maybe more so than other games. But the inability to get this it would have been the 9th win. This 9th win in the Bundesliga over the line still was a bit reminiscent of earlier problems that we used to associate with this team. Just a little bit of lack of focus, just a little bit of lack of savvy. It just felt like a bit of an anticlimax after the recent results and form. No? Yes? You're shaking your head?
No, I would slightly disagree. It's what you can see is there were important players missing. With Julian Brandt, also Adeyemi was still not in. Marco Reus was missing, and Gregor Kobel in goal. And I think overall they had many good situations. Terzic had a very good idea with a new position for Rafael Guerreiro. I don't know how to define it. It's how would you call it? So he was somewhere in the offensive part of the pitch at least, and I think he played very well. And and then it was more like it is sometimes. You don't they created good chances. They had some good combination and so on. Then they were lacking concentration on that end of the pitch, and they, I mean, Schalke scored the equalizer, the second equalizer, from a simple cross where Julian Rierson was for a second not fully concentrated, and that was enough. And I think from the Borussia team or supporters and everybody, they went home frustrated for not winning it. But I didn't really see the ills of the past that we have been talking about. I think it was more a bit like this Chelsea thing. It was more, stuff that can happen in football. Let me put it this way.
All right. Okay. Well, the stuff that happened on Saturday meant that Dortmund lost a little bit of ground in the race for the title.